projects need to change. They need to grow up and mature just like the industry around them. And to do that, they need to deliver value across 3 key areas. The underlying market, that needs to have a real problem that decentralization can solve, be large and accessible enough. The business model, which answers the question of how the project is planning to make money, how it will share the money that it earns, and how it will make investors money. And finally, innovative technology. Because everybody in this room knows that blockchain, artificial intelligence, ERC-20 is no longer enough. We need something distinctive that can form the basis of a long-term, sustainable competitive advantage. So, today I'm here to talk about BGX, a project that excels in all 3 of these areas. In front of us is a 60 billion market opportunity. I'm talking about the market of mobile games. This industry has 2 billion players. It grows 19% year on year. However, only a bottleneck of just a few companies such as Google, Apple, Tencent, and maybe 2 others control the entire app distribution. This oligopoly charges 30% of game developers, which is why large game studios get larger, rich game studios get richer, while 80% of all game studios go bankrupt within a year. And that is a problem, because the industry is missing out on a lot of diversity and growth that it could have capitalized. What game studios need are more monetization channels, higher user engagement, and maximized return per user. Decentralization can bring that. Speaking of users, the 2 billion players are also stuck in this rigid ecosystem. They're unable to trade in cryptocurrency. Moreover, they can't even trade currency game to game. Imagine if in the real world, every store would only accept its own currency as payment. Well, I'd call that inefficient. Finally, there are businesses. The businesses such as ad providers, social networks, messengers in the gaming space, they thrive on the relationship between game studios and players. But when game studios go bankrupt and players are spending far less than they actually could, well, the businesses don't thrive either. So that is why we created a solution. We're creating a platform that will act as an app distribution, but also a payment processing system that will rely on 3 core pillars, including decentralization, flexible economy, and the combination of financial incentives and technology, just like fintech is supposed to be. Let's talk about the BGX solution. First of all, there's decentralization. By establishing a decentralized platform, we can eliminate unnecessary intermediaries, such as Google, Apple, and the aforementioned companies, and charge far less of game studios. We can charge them 10% or less instead of 30%. We can include more small studios that can actually have the time and the resources to grow larger and stay on the BGX platform. Our economy will enable backward payments, which means that players can transfer currency game to game. That means that they spend more on the platform and every developer in the ecosystem wins. We can also bring esports monetization models into mobile games. While esports have been very successful at monetizing through tournaments, streaming, direct ads, the mobile gaming space, while larger, has not been able to capitalize on that, simply because that bottleneck of app distributors are not interested in providing extra value. They're already charging 30%, so they're good. For us, we do want to give those extra monetization channels. And for us, we charge 10% commission on all monetization coming through the platform. One more note about the economy, the BGX token is an ERC-20 token, which is high growth and shares the platform's revenues and will be sold to investors. Meanwhile, the platform will use another, a stablecoin, that is pegged to the USD at a constant rate throughout the 5 years, protecting the economy from crypto volatility. In order to actualize all that, we're going to need a technology that provides high processing speeds, large volumes at very low costs, while maintaining decentralized architecture, security, and interoperability. So let's talk about the remarkable BGX technology. Classically, it is thought that decentralization, speed, and cost cannot be combined all together in a payment processing system, which is true for all mining networks. That is why we wanted to do something different. We're using 8,000 to 9,000 different nodes, a federative consensus, a direct acyclic graph, a crypto hash tree, and lots of mathematical models to create the BGX algorithm capable of processing up to 100,000 transactions per second. Now, to put that in perspective, Ethereum can only process 100, and Visa can process 24,000. So we thought we'd be more like Visa and actually create a practical blockchain solution. Think Stellar, but not for banking. Think Hyora, but not for Internet of Things. Think BGX, the most powerful decentralized processing solution in all of blockchain. So So we'll make money off commissions. But the next question is, how can the investors make money? And for that, we have the BGX token, which provides two main benefits: profit sharing and high growth. As I mentioned before, we'll share all of our revenue with the holders of BGX tokens. In exact amounts, 60% of our revenues will go to the investors. Now, I know that we might not get the entire 60 billion market, but we are the only ones that are capable of providing a much needed solution to the industry. So we hope that by 2020, we'll have 300 million players, and then from every commission, we'll give away 6% to the holders of BGX tokens. Moreover, some investors are not interested in just getting high dividends. Some investors are interested in the growing value of the token itself. And our token is very high growth. There's a limited supply. Once the ICO is finished, there's no longer an emission of tokens. All unsold tokens will be burned. But the interesting part is the raised demand. Platform nodes, the 8,000 to 9,000 nodes, will be buying out BGX tokens from investors. The larger the platform grows, the more nodes we have, and the greater the requirement for holding BGX tokens is. So there's greater demand there. Moreover, the profit sharing system is scheduled in tiers, which means that the more BGX tokens you hold, the greater the percentage is that you actually get from the platform. And that means that there will be greater consolidation, and larger investors will try to buy out smaller ones as well, rising the demand even more. Now, I can proudly say that of all crypto tokens being sold right now, ours has the strongest mechanics for actual token growth on the secondary markets. So, to participate, you can visit us at booth 414. Ask any question, we'll be happy to answer them. Of course, this is a 10-minute pitch, so I can't deliver the full value of BGX, but we'd be happy to talk with you there. You can email us at invest@bgx.ai, where we can provide you with some beneficial terms of token sale. We're in the private sale mode right now. We've already had some private investments, but this ends at May 7th. And from May 8th to 14th, we're having a 1-week pre-sale with a 30% bonus. We're offering a 10% bonus for anyone who signs up right now, and also a 10% referral bonus on that as well. We do want to congratulate the early investors into BGX by giving them something extra to participate. The Crowdsale itself will start from May 22nd, and if you have any questions, we'll be happy to see you at the booth. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. BGX, everybody.